All right, hello students. Here we have video number 2 for our day 1 lesson in Module 3. We are now on page 5, so we've had some time to practice combining expressions together, which usually is called addition. Now we're going to start talking about how we subtract expressions. And note I have in, as an asterisk here, to recall the double negative rule. Recall that if you're subtracting negative 4, it's the same thing as adding 4. All right. Now, first, before I actually look at these expressions, I want to make a connection to math that you've done before. So let's suppose over here on the right side, you were to take 58 and you were to subtract 45 from it. All right. So you would, you take your 8 minus 5, which would be 3, and your 5 minus 4, which would be 1. And you say it'd be 13. But in reality, what you're doing is you're taking 50 plus 8, and you're subtracting from it 40 plus 5. So you're really taking 8 minus 5 and 50 minus 40. Giving you 10 plus 3. All right? So that's really what's going on when you're subtracting a two-digit number by a two-digit number. You're subtracting by place value. So now when I subtract an expression here, this negative or minus sign is referring to both the 4x and the 5. So actually what I could do is I could draw arrows like the distributive property. So I'm really taking 5x minus 4x. Well, sometimes what I like to do is this is really minus 4x and minus 5. Because I'm subtracting 4x and I'm subtracting 5. So now I take 5x minus 4x, which is 1x, and I take 8 minus 5, which is 3. And you can see, I actually have something that looks very similar to its numerical counterpart. Right? And that's really what there is about subtraction of expressions. All right, so in B, I'm going to take 3x minus 4x. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to rewrite this. Kind of like what I told you up here above to make sure that you rewrote this, because if you don't rewrite it, you're going to get it wrong 9 times out of 10. So same thing here. Okay, so it's 3. So now I'm going to subtract 11. So it becomes a minus 11. So I have 3x minus 4x. That's negative 1x. Think the integer card game. I have 5y, but nothing to. So here's 3x minus 4x. I have nothing to go with the 5y, so that just gets brought down, minus 5 or plus 5y. And then I've got negative 4 minus 11. Negative 4 minus 11. If I borrow $4, I borrow 11 more. It's negative 15. Like so. Okay, just a couple more, just because I want to make sure that I kind of cover all different scenarios. So here we've got 10a, all right, so it's minus 5a. All right, now here's the tricky part. Minus negative 9. If you subtract the negative 9, it's the same as adding 9. So now I've got 10a minus 5a, which is 5a. And I've got a negative 4 and a plus 9. If I had a negative 4 card and a positive 9 card, I'd have a plus 5. Right? And then D, be careful here, lots of negatives. So obviously if there's a lot of negatives, a place where you make a mistake. So here I've got negative 4d minus negative 8d. So a minus negative becomes a plus. And I'm also got a minus negative 12. So a minus negative 12, or if I subtract a negative 12, it's the same as adding. So really what's happening is I'm distributing the negative sign to both of the terms, or depending on, it could be more than 2. But I'm distributing that negative sign to those terms. Also what could help is if you think of a negative 1. You could put a negative 1 there and you're distributing that. So negative 4d plus 8d. Negative 4 plus 8 would be a plus 4d. And here I've got a negative 12 and a plus 12. Well, those just cancel out. So it's just 4d. All right, and that's really the gist of subtraction. E, find the result when 8x minus 4 is subtracted from negative 8x plus 12. Here's something I want you to consider. Because in subtraction, when you're subtracting, the order in which you subtract does matter. So the question is going to be, how does this get subtracted? So I'm going to use a number here. So let's suppose I took 5 from 10. Let's say I'm going to subtract 5 from 10. Just pick numbers. Are you going to do 5 minus 10? Or are you going to do 10 minus 5? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Well, you typically, when you're going from something, hopefully you're thinking 10 minus 5. Because that means you're starting with the 10. So same thing with an expression. We're starting with this negative 8x plus 12. Okay? And we're subtracting the expression 8x minus 4. All right, so you start with a negative 8x plus 12. So now I'm going to negative 8x minus 8x All right, so negative 8x minus 8x would be negative 16x. Borrow 8 more. All right, 12 minus negative 4. And a minus negative 4 becomes a plus 4 if I subtract the negative 4. So I have 12 minus negative 4, so this would become plus 16. All right, very good. Example number 4. I'm actually going to have you pause the video and do your close reading and try to see if you can come up with the expression and how much Margot will pay if she uses a storage unit for 6 months. So this will be the end of the video, and I'll check in on your answer on that one at some point later. So good luck, work hard.